Welcome back, MTG Joe here. As promised, we're here with another budget deck. We've done a couple for Arena already, a mono black and a mono white deck, and continuing with the theme of playing mono color decks built around their gods, we're going to be taking a look at a mono green build built around Nylea Keen-Eyed. So similar to the other gods, it's not a creature unless your devotion is 5 or more. Devotion is basically the number of forest symbols and its casting cost. And then it reduces your creature's casting cost by 1, and for 3 mana, if the top card of your library is a creature, you put it in your hand. If not, you put it in the graveyard. So kind of card advantage built in. So with all our decks for the budget series, it's always 10 rares or mythics combined to build up the deck. So we kind of put that threshold on there. So the deck itself, we're running you through it. We have Arboreal Grazer and Paradise Druid as our ramp package. This will get us ahead in terms of mana. We have ways to deal with enchantments or artifacts in both Flaxen Intruder and Thrashing Brontodon. These also kind of work as removal spells because there's a lot of enchantment creatures. Flaxen Intruder also has the upside of, if we draw out late game, we can create a bunch of bears and attack in. We have our early beater plays in Barkhide Troll, 2 mana 3/3, and you can remove the counter off it to give it hexproof. Syr Faren is something I want to try out. It's a 2 mana 2/2 legendary that when it attacks, it gives another target creature plus XX till end of turn where it's equal to its power. So you can pump it up with stuff like Vivien to make it more powerful. But I think without like the dedicated like giant growth style strategy, it's not as reliable as some of the other spells. We have a couple Titanic Brawls. We have a number of creatures that'll put 1/1 counters on themselves. So it really is only a 1 mana card to have it be a fight effect. Our creatures generally will be larger than our opponents, so it's kind of a one-sided removal spell. Yorvo, Lord of Garenbrig, this is one of the rares we're using. We're doing 2 of. It's a 3 mana, so it adds 3 devotion, which is nice. Enters as a 4/4 with 4 counters. Whenever another green creature enters the battlefield, you put a 1/1 counter on it. If its power is greater than Yorvo's, you actually get 2 counters. So the second part's not as relevant unless Nylea itself is turned on as a creature. But it is a nice way to just have a really big beater that we can then give trample with Vivien. So Vivien's one of the mythics we're using. So you can put 2 counters on another up to 2 creatures. They gain trample till the end of turn. -3 is a fight effect, or sorry, deals damage. So you can deal damage to a creature or planeswalker equal to one of your creatures. And -5 is you can search for a creature outside of the game, put it into your hand. So it's a very powerful card. We have Renata, Caller to the Hunt. So this is power is equal to your devotion to green, and then each creature you control enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. It's also a legendary enchantment creature. I did forget to mention Destiny Spinner. It's one of the 2 drops we're going to be trying out. It's a 2 mana 2/3, so pretty decent stats. Creature and enchantment spells you control can't be countered, which is nice. And then for 3 mana you get to animate a land similar to Nissa. Its power and toughness is equal to the number of enchantments you control, and it also has trample. So you can kind of give added power to animated Nissa lands as well, which is kind of cool. And then we wouldn't be playing green if we're not playing the Queen of Green, Nissa who shakes the world. If you have 4, play 4. I wanted to try out a couple different cards, so I'm going to 3 here. So you probably know Nissa at this point. Doubles up every forest you control that taps for mana. You get to untap lands you control, put counters on it, and then for -8, search your library for any number of basic forests, and elemental land creatures you control are indestructible. Finally, we're playing 1 Great Henge. We have a lot of creatures that can get pretty large, so we reduce cost effect. Gains us life, ramps us, and gives us card draw and bigger creatures. All are really reasonable things to be doing in this format and in general. 24 lands, they're all forests, nice and simple, no rare lands there. Sideboard, a little bit difficult with no rares, but we'll try it out. Soul Guide Lanterns for exile effects for your opponent's graveyard. Kenrith's Transformation is to deal with like troublesome permanents. You Oko it. It's basically Oko's +1 ability, but in an enchantment. Also adds to our devotion. Kraul Harpooner versus Flyers. Return to Nature versus more heavy artifact enchantment decks, or even additional exile hate. That's only 1 card, so we still want to play the guide to exile the whole graveyard. Setessan Petitioner is a new card. It's a 3 mana creature that you gain life equal to your devotion to green, so against more aggressive decks. God-Pharaoh statues for the grindier matchups. You tax your opponent and kind of drain them for life. So think like Control or something like that. And then Meteor Golem is a way to destroy non-land permanents. It's colorless and it's just more removal in creature form. So let's play some games, see how it goes. I'll do probably a best of 3 and then best of 1, just so you can get a feel for both. Let's play some games. Traditional play standard, yep. So as always, if you enjoy the content, want to show your support, if you're catching this on YouTube, a simple like, comment on the video goes a long way to help. If you haven't subscribed, if you could subscribe, it's free. It helps out the channel. And if you're trying to know when we go live on Twitch, or want to help support via Twitch, a simple follow there on Twitch, another free way to help support the channel. With so we're a little land heavy this hand, but Paradise Druid into Renata seems pretty sweet. If you are purchasing cards with the new set coming out, and you want to help out, I do have an affiliate link with TCG Player, so you can actually purchase your cards via that link. Takes you to the same site, just lets them know that I came from the you came from the channel, and you can find those on my YouTube description as well. So enough pandering. We're playing against the blue-white control deck. So they usually will play the Birth of Meletes and the 2-mana one that draws cards, like the Thassa Oath. Okay, so no Teferi this turn's not too bad. Kind of annoying. We didn't draw anything but lands. The Titanic Brawl is not going to be that good in this matchup, so Thirst for Meeting. So this is likely the Dance of the Manse version. There's a blue-white Dance of the Manse deck going around. So this is probably a bad matchup just because we have to commit more to the board. If we could get a Planeswalker down, but the opponent will likely have some sort of counter magic. So really cards, if you have them and you want to add Questing Beast, 2 to 3 of in the main board. Shifting Ceratops would be another card to consider. Those are all good additions. Obviously, I would probably play 3 Viviens. I would play 4 Nissas. So cards we want to try. Okay, so no counter spell, so they might just be holding it, or they might have a board wipe here. So we're just going to keep trying to attack, force their hand. Because they usually play Shatter the Sky as their board wipe. So that's 2 creatures with power 4 or greater, so we would draw 2 cards. This also has pseudo. Okay, so gets a counter out of them. Still okay. I think as long as we could kind of put pressure on them. So Renata's going to go away here. So it's kind of cool here with Renata. Syr Faren comes in with 3 power, so then it'll pump the team a bit more. This is likely going to get countered here. Oh, it doesn't. Just end the turn. So I want to get Teferi off the board because they usually will play like Dreamstalker. Okay, so we'll draw 1 card here. Of course, it's a land. So I'm playing out the lands here in part because if we have Nylea out, it gives us more opportunities to pay mana into her to draw more cards. Here we're just going to keep threat after threat, drain them out of resources. They haven't really been drawing cards. So this is one of the new lands we have to be somewhat relevant of. It's basically Maze of Ith for 5 mana, 4 plus tap. So it takes a creature out of combat step. So the fairy is something. They can bounce their Banishing Light. So obviously not as good when we don't have a creature. But Vivien almost turns on Nylea by herself. Okay, so second Banishing Light. Their clock's not the fastest, so I don't want to concede just yet. If they draw a Dream Trawler, then we'll concede. This just gives us a blocker. The problem is with our current build, we don't have the haste elements, so the Teferi gets a couple bounces of our creatures. Okay, so if we don't draw something this turn with enough power, we're going to concede. Dream Trawler is basically the way they close out the game. Yep. So, it's probably the worst matchup for our deck. The board wipe / counterspell matchup. So Meteor Golems will come in, God-Pharaoh statue, and the Harpooners. Actually, these Return to Natures are also pretty good if they're the kind of enchantment based. I don't think we want the Grazers here. They're pretty low impact. Could cut down a couple Return to Natures. The Titanic Brawls. One more cut. Syr Faren's fine. They showed a lot of counter spells, so this is something good to get down. Yorvo can just get big, and it does add devotion. Maybe just cut down the Return to Nature. Between Flaxen Intruder and everything else, we should be fine. So if we can get down the Great Henge, that's very good for us. Obviously they can bounce it with Teferi, and they do have ways to deal with it, but it can give us some card advantage. I think I'm just going to go offense here. We're not really ramping into anything right now. Let's decline this. Okay, so gets one Banishing Light out of the way. Nissa's great. We need to try to find a window to sneak her down. So the nice thing is Paradise Druid reduces Great Henge by 2 and can tap for mana. Okay, so backup Nissa is also good. Okay, this resolving's fantastic. So that's 2 mana, 3 mana, so it's not enough this turn, so let's attack in with both. Don't care about Omen of the Sea. Could help them find like Teferi or something. Even if they shatter this guy, it's not that good for them. Okay, so they Banishing Light. Actually, that might let us play Great Henge. So let's do this. Do that. And then we can cast Great Henge afterwards. And now we have a few threats they need to answer. In the immediate, they need to answer Nissa. And then the Great Henge lets us draw off any creatures we cast. Plus our board is got I'm on a 2-turn clock. Even if they have a catch-all like... Okay, so that is an option. It gains them some life back. Worst draw for us right now. So I could throw in 3 land. So I could attack for 6, 8. They gain 3, so it hits them for 5. Then they get to draw some cards. I think we just do that. Literally any creature would have done there, or like Vivien's or stuff. So they're going to gain 3, but we get to hit them for 8. We have to erase them here. This card's great. And in like straight mono green, we don't have a real answer, especially because when they play it, they usually have a full hand. That's interesting. So this might be a board wipe, perhaps. Gain the 5 and then go from there. Because even if they play our Outburst, we still get Yorvo and Nissa back. Okay, so they go Banishing Light here. Let's just gain 2 life. Jeez. Not drawing well after the double Nissa turn. So they hit us for 5 each turn, gain 5 back. So they do need to eventually answer our board. They can take 3 out of combat, but they take 5, which kind of nulls. They're not really incentivized to board wipe. Brontodon would be good. Return to Nature would be good. God-Pharaoh statue's not bad. So I'm going to attack first. Let's let them make the move. So if this resolves, we win. Because they take a damage in their upkeep. Okay, so they have the Absorb. That might shift the race because they gain 3 more life there. Birth the Meletes. Note it's also getting him a 4 toughness blocker. So they can still untap one of our creatures. Oh jeez. It's getting big. They gain 8 life. So we need to try to draw like Kraul Harpooner here. So we have our opening. Interesting, they brought Giant Killer in this matchup. Draw another Renata. So I'm going to cast her, and then she enters with an additional counter. Okay, we got Brontodon, so that might be a way we can play around this. Brontodon, blow up one of these on a Nissa, have the lands. Like, we had the opponent down to 1. They're back up to 15. This card's not legendary either. Time Raveler here. Probably gets rid of Renata. Ooh. That's an interesting choice. Because what are they banishing light here? They just go Time Wipe. Gross. So I want this to enter as a creature. So I draw a card. Just take Teferi off the battlefield and then pass the turn. So again, now they have to deal with a couple different ways to kill. See if they just drop Dream Trawler here. They don't. Well, actually, no, that finds a plane, so they could still drop the Trawler here. Why does it feel like this game that the opponents had like 1,000 banishing lights? They might be inclined to counter this. Ooh. See if they have the counter spell. Of course they do. Oh, nope. And then just play out Destiny Spinner. That's actually very good. It lets us use our force to attack through. Or, you know, just get shattered again. Gone board wiped 3 times.
My heart beats in unison with the wild.
So they get 1 more attack here to gain some more life. They get to draw an extra card on attack. They gain 2 off that. A lot of resiliency with this deck. They bought them both here. Okay, so Vivien bought us a turn. I've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures, 7, and 3 Nissas. That's all our Nissas. Paradise Druid's a redraw. Kraul Harpooner is actually pretty good. Actually, should have. So they gotta. Oh, they don't discard here. They might have a second trawler. Pass the turn. They might have just missed that. Might be our break. And you know what? With Dream Trawlers going around, we probably want 3 of them, the Harpooners. At this point, we can hard cast Henge. Still think we go this. So what they're probably going to do is have Paradise Druid be untapped. So then we can just tap the mana for it. Yeah. So the question here is, do I go Flaxen or do I wait to play it next turn? I think we just go Flaxen, because then if it can attack, it can unlock one of these. Okay, then we have Surprise Vivien next turn. Because all this needs to do is deal combat damage. So the trample over the token here. Second Tef. Just gain the life. Okay, so a couple things here. So we're going to lead with the Great Henge again. Let's put this on top. try to get back Nissa. So we'll attack in like this. And again, I could have led with destroying this. Might have been right, but they had the Aether Gust. I did want to get Nissa back more than I wanted the Great Henge. Main phase, Shatter the Sky. That's why we're trying to get the Fairy off. Plays around board wipes better. Okay, gonna get rid of our Henge. Play Viv here. So now every turn I get a 5/5 Trampler. You know what? Let's do this, because I don't want to deal with them taking it out of combat or blocking. Yeah. That's fine. We are grinding this one. Opponent's at 20 cards in the library. We're at 29. So we're probably not going to get the best of one match. This one's gone pretty long, especially if we go to game 3 here. So it's kind of cool now. We can pump the rest of our mana into these lands to give them more power. So whichever one they don't take out of combat we can do it to, or we can do it to both.
This will be fun to watch.
See what they do here. So they're deciding what they're doing. This interaction's been really sweet. I don't think it does anymore here. Still just 5? Yeah. Okay, so it's only 5 that it does. It doesn't stack the way I don't know why I was thinking it was going to stack. Okay, second time wipe. And Dream Trawler, good draw for the opponent. So Barkhide. So here they need to decide how they want to proceed. They can take 5, gain basically 5 back. So a bit of a losing proposition. Next turn. So they probably attack into Nissa, otherwise I ultimate it. They also have to be mindful. They're at 17 cards. Might also just be able to time out the opponent in a game 3. This is the power of like Nissa. In a game where we've drawn kind of poorly. More lands. So in case they have another shatter, I want to have 4 things with 4 power. Or sorry, 3 things with 4 power. Okay, so they have the giant killer. They can make a token here. Soaks up a point of damage. $16 cards in library. Just play out the land. Like Return to Nature's, Brontodons. Meteor Golems. We got a whole whack of things that can be good here. Nissa's bye-bye now. They also have just a ton of cards in hand, so they can protect their Dream Trawler by discarding, so the Vivien down takes really just forcing them to discard. They can also start tapping our creatures here. You know what? I'm just going to concede this one. We're basically dead, and I can get in another game quick in best of 1. The matchup's shown, basically. Just give me, let me give Arena a quick reset. It's a really bad matchup. It's a long matchup, so I don't want to play another round in that, just to demo the deck. You have utility, just not drawing the right half, and then Questing Beast is good there because of the haste and the way it can target Teferi without having to commit. So let's play a best of 1, demo the deck there. Really what we want to see is like creature decks where we're just bigger. Not the deck with seemingly 5 to 7 board wipes and then a bunch of ways to recycle their exile and their main win con being a flying lifelink. Yeah, Falco. That one's, they had it. The game was going to go on for another 10 minutes probably. We weren't going to go to game 3. I think this hand's fine. We see blue, so we'll probably go... Tell me this is the same matchup. Ooh, a Dovin's Liquidity list. So I'm actually just going to blow this up this turn. Usually these decks are built somewhat around Dovin's Liquidity. So I think taking them off that would be reasonable. And I don't want to give them a chance to trigger it. If they have Teferi here. So it's kind of a main phase matters deck. So I'm going to do Destiny Spinner. I don't know if they're playing counter spells. If they're like an Equidity list, they're probably going to be all these like what's it? Addendum style deck. Tap out on their turn. Okay, so they have Guard Mage. That's actually really good because now we can go Nissa. So I'm going to go full control. So I'll attack and then this fights this. And then we can just deal some damage there. The alternative was me playing a Paradise Druid, but I think just getting the extra damage in is more relevant. And then next turn I can just start with the Destiny Spinner, start pumping our lines even bigger like we did with Vivien. We got Sloth Boy. So we can animate another land as well. And then we can activate her again by tapping these two to make this larger. Ooh, that's interesting. So let's see where they block here. That's what I was hoping for, because we could take the Angel out now, so it protects our Nissa. We lose a land, but I'm not too concerned about losing the land. Nissa's the way we close out this game. So they can exile this for the 6 mana which they have, which makes their life total 10. Summary Judgment, the land. It's kind of a cute interaction. Because the lands themselves tap for the 2 mana, so you really just need another forest, and then you start getting an extra point of damage each time. Well, these Sloths aren't doing too much for us. That's fine. In case they have another Angel, we can block. So the thing is, we could have... I think we were already in combat step, but we could have tapped this because it shuts off its mana ability. This feels like an Azoria starter deck. That's fine. Really, we're just going to pop off this Nissa, make things indestructible, and then call it a day. We also can get just a ton of lands out of our library. So if they don't have anything, they're dead. Okay, so they have deploy. So if they messed that up, we could have chipped in some damage with the trample. So their life total is basically at 10, something we need to be mindful of. That seems risky. You have an Oblivion Ring. Ooh, Deputy. That seems very wrong. I should have floated the mana, but they were dead. Multiple ways. Okay, so we've gone for about 45 minutes. Gonna wrap this one up. So if you missed any part of it, you want to catch it, it'll be up on YouTube tomorrow. The mono white and mono black budget decks are already up on my YouTube channel, so you can definitely check that out. And if you have any other suggestions, I'll probably do mono blue next as the budget build. I've been playing a lot of Thassa, that's why I went with mono green right now. My last few videos have been Thassa themed decks, so switch it up a bit, and then we'll start playing some dual color decks and stuff like that to try to mix it up with budget brews. Probably like a Doom Foretold style deck, blue-white budget control, kind of like a Dream Trawler list. You can probably do something pretty sweet with there, and we'll go from there. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great day or night wherever you are, and catch you on the next one.